What is up, guys? It is the Bluebloods here with another 2 Minute Drill episode Tuesday, June 22nd. Man, make sure to go check out our episode yesterday. Our interview with Palmer Tom's Georgia Insider for Dogs 247. And we got Alabama today out as well. So if you're on our YouTube channel, go ahead and check out that too. We had Nick Kelly, Insider for the Tuscaloosa News. Come on, talk the defending national champs with us. So make sure to check that out. And whatever team you root for, man, we probably already have an interview for it. So make sure to go back, check out our ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac 12. We have all the interviews lined up, man. Make sure to go check that out. But we're starting, a theme for at least the next 2 days, and then we're going to get through every conference as we move through the summer here. But the Vegas odds, the over-under win totals for every team was released this past week. And so thought it'd be a cool idea just to do kind of like an early summer preview. This is not our official predictions for the Blue Bloods. This is just way too early looking at it. Where would I put my money? So let's say you're trying to decide, want to bet on Florida State's win total. Are they going to be over this or under this projected win number? We're here to help you all out, give y'all my opinion, do a small breakdown for each team. So because this is just a 2 minute drill, doing a full conference would be like an hour show. So what I'm going to do is separate it by division for every conference that has a division. Then we'll do like the Big 12 altogether. It's only 10 teams. But for the ACC, we're starting with the Atlantic division. That's Clemson's division. They've owned this division for years. They've owned the conference for years, to be honest. Let's just be real with each other. So I'm going to start at the lowest projected wins and work my way up to, of course, Clemson has the highest projected win total. So what I'm going to do is give the projected win total, kind of break down the roster, talk about the schedule breakdown, where I see guaranteed wins as of right now, what teams am I just chalking up as losses, and what are the swing games on the schedule for each team. Then I'll give my verdict on where I would, go in terms of projected wins. So let's kick it off. Syracuse, only 3 projected wins this year. And I mean, this prediction really relies on what quarterback Tommy DeVito is going to bring to the field when he gets back on the field. The orange do return Taj Harris, all ACC wide receiver. The defense, I mean, the front 3 has a lot of experience, but man, the secondary is so young. Andre Cisco, Afatu Melifanu, Trill Williams, all 3 are gone. So that secondary is really young. The defense wasn't, excellent at times last year. So losing, 3 NFL caliber players is huge. And so I'm really worried about how this defense is going to be. DeVito has been inconsistent at times. So when I look at the schedule, when I look at the guaranteed wins, I look at Ohio and University of Albany. Those are the only 2 games I feel super comfortable saying, yeah, Syracuse is probably going to get those. I think they're swing games. The Rutgers game, and I think if they're going to steal a conference game, I'm looking at maybe the NC State game. I also think you maybe can throw in the Wake Forest game or Louisville game, depending on how those teams go, because those teams have a lot of question marks surrounding them. But the losses right now, I think Liberty beats them. I know that's a tough look, but Liberty returns one of the best quarterbacks in Malik Willis in the country. Hugh Freeze has that team playing out of his mind. They dominated Syracuse last year. I think Liberty gets to win this year. I like Florida State over them. I'm going to go ahead and give Wake Forest to win. I'm going to go ahead and give NC State the win, even though those might be potential swing games. Clemson's going to dominate them. Virginia Tech's going to dominate them. Boston College is going to dominate them. Louisville's a win right now. That could be a swing game. And Pitt could be a swing game, but I'm going to give them the win. So my verdict on Syracuse is under. If I'm putting money on the projected 3 wins for Syracuse, I'm saying they're probably going to have 2. And if Ohio upsets them, maybe even 1, I think they're going to have to steal either the Rutgers game or one of those 3 games I mentioned where it's really Wake Forest, NC State, Louisville, maybe Pitt if they don't, replace that defense, all the defensive linemen that they lost. The defensive secondary is also kind of thin. So I think that's kind of where we are on Syracuse. One expert that I was reading said that Syracuse and Duke are probably going to be the most affected in terms of ACC teams with like this weird super senior year. And I'm not super high on Syracuse. I wasn't super high on them last year, and I don't see them getting many wins. So if it's set at 3, I'm gonna take the weird bet. I know it's always hard to bet under 3, but man, I don't see a lot of wins on this schedule. Rutgers is a much improved team, and they just play a lot of teams that are just going to overmatch. That it's just a matchup nightmare for them, I would say. So Syracuse under 3 projected wins for me. Now this next program, man, it's crazy that this program is second lowest projected wins. Florida State, 5.5 projected wins. It's a program really in rebuild mode, guys. Mike Norvell probably is going to be feeling the pressure if he doesn't perform well this year after a disappointing 2020 season where they only won 3 games. The offense was a struggle at times last season. I know a lot of people think Jordan Travis could still be the QB1. I think they'd be crazy not to start McKenzie Milton. He offers a lot of experience. He's a more complete quarterback that's done it. He's a winning quarterback. So I think putting him in there could be an upgrade for what the Seminoles had in previous years. The running game is still going to have to be the focal point. They're breaking in 2 new running backs that haven't really been the main guys. Lawrence Tofield and Jashawn Corbin are probably going to have to be – they're going to need to be one of the best 1-2 punches in the ACC. There's a big void. Etienne's gone. Javonte Williams and Michael Carter up at UNC are gone. Khalil Herbert's gone at Virginia Tech. You got Jahmyr Gibbs down at Georgia Tech. But I think these 2 guys are going to have to show out and really help whoever Florida State puts out at quarterback. If they don't have a run game, man, I don't know how this season is going to go. So that's kind of where my question mark is on the offensive side. The defensive side is going to be a full rebuild, guys. To be honest, Marvin Wilson, Asante Samuel leave huge holes. They're going to be playing with 7 new starters on the defensive side of the ball. Jerrion Jones and Jarvis Brownlee are 2 of the secondary guys that I'm really looking forward to see if they can step up. They're going to be put to the test early and often. Jermaine Johnson comes in at D-line as a transfer. Can him and this young D-line be disruptive, help this young secondary mature early? I'm looking at their schedule. There are some guaranteed wins, though. I know it's going to be a tough win, even though it's a FCS versus FBS game. Jacksonville State gave them a run early last year. It's going to be a tough one, but I'm giving them the win there. They're better than Syracuse. They're going to get the win there. And UMass, it's only 3 guaranteed wins. They got 5.5 projected wins, so they're going to have to get the 6 to cover. The swing games for me are Wake Forest, Louisville, NC State, and Boston College. Now, if I had to do it now, I really think NC State and Boston College are losses right now. So that's what, 5 wins right now for Florida State. And then the other games are Notre Dame, North Carolina, Clemson, Miami, and Florida. All right now, I think all those teams are significantly better than Florida State and should be wins. The only question mark that, I might move as we get close to the season, Notre Dame into that swing game category because they have a lot of players they're going to have to replace. Ian Book was a great quarterback. I know they got Jack Cohen, but what is he going to be? I got a lot of question marks around Notre Dame, but right now I think they are significantly better than Florida State. Right now, it's not final predictions. Right now, I think this is an under. I have them sitting right at 5 wins right now, just based on schedule and kind of preseason spring observations. I think Jacksonville State, Syracuse, UMass, potentially Wake Forest, and potentially Louisville. 5 wins right now is really all I can see them possibly getting. I think NC State and Boston College are swing games, but right now, Florida State's a step behind those programs, and they're a major step behind their other 5 opponents. It's just a tough schedule when you have Notre Dame, North Carolina, Clemson, Miami, and Florida all on your schedule, and all these teams are good. Florida could be an interesting one, especially having to replace Kyle Pitts and Kyle Trask, but let's be honest, Florida's been the better program under Dan Mullen for some years now. So right now, if I had to put it, Florida State's going to be a tough one because they could go 5 or they could go 6. So I would stay away if I was a betting guy from Florida State. But right now, I would probably say slightly under. And if they can steal a game, they're going to have to steal Boston College, NC State, Notre Dame, or Florida. So I think Miami, North Carolina, and Clemson are probably out of reach for them. They're going to have to steal one of those other games to get over that 5.5 win projection. So I'm going to say under right now at 5 wins for Florida State. Well, that leaves us with NC State now. They got 6 projected wins. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. This is a team I really like in the ACC. NC State, they have a lot of momentum going into 2021. A nice 7-win season in 2020. Offensively, they've returned 8 starters, possibly 9 if you consider Devin Leary, who started the first 3 games of the season, played outstanding, broke his leg, missed the rest of the season. They may be one of the most underrated explosive offenses in the country, especially the ACC. Thayer Thomas, Amika Emezi, both will be dynamic targets for Leary. Bam Knight and Ricky Person Jr. are going to aim to kind of revitalize this run game that behind an offensive line that returns 4 or 5 starters. Everything's kind of signaling that NC State's going to be really good again. They were really good last year. Defensively, I think this is probably one of the better linebacking units in the country. Peyton Wilson led the ACC in tackles last year, was an all-ACC selection. They got 9 returning starters on this side of the ball. It should be huge and it should be huge to have one of the most underrated units in the conference. So I think a lot of people are going to overlook them, and they shouldn't. They're going to need C.J. Clark and Terrell Dawkins to step up on the D-line, help Daniel Joseph improve this pass rush and really their run-stopping ability. But I think if they have that, and this could be a very, very sneaky team in the ACC. When I look at their schedule, I see wins at USF. South Florida has been abysmal recently. Not going to be a very good AAC team, probably at the bottom of that conference. I'm giving them a win there. Furman is overmatched. Louisiana Tech's overmatched, and Syracuse is overmatched. So they're at 4 wins already on my books. So that's 4 out of 6. The swing games, though, Boston College, Wake Forest, Florida State, and Louisville. The losses, Mississippi State, I think, overmatches them right now just in terms of what Mike Leach is bringing. But I think that could also technically be a swing game. But right now I'm putting Mississippi State as a win there. But that could easily change as we get closer to the season. Clemson, Miami, and North Carolina, guaranteed losses in my book. I just think they're overmatched in all of those games in terms of just pure overall talent on the field. But if they pull an upset there, this could be a very sneaky team for the ACC. But I think right now, so they're things at 6 wins. I have them guaranteed 4. I really think they can sneak those last 3 games as wins, those swing games. Wake Forest, Florida State, Louisville. I think NC State is the slight favorite there. So I'm going to go with an over. I'm going to go in over with 7 wins for NC State. 7-5 is a great year. I think they'll be in a good bowl game, possibly could win that to get to 8 wins. But I think Boston College may have them early right now, in my opinion. I think Boston College is a slightly better team. But I think right now I would take them over Wake Forest, Florida State, Louisville. So I'm going to put them at over 6 projected wins. I'm going to give them 7. So take the over with NC State in terms of their win total this year. So moving on to a team that I'm not going to lie to y'all, I completely missed on them last year. Completely missed on them, and that's Louisville. I was wrong about Louisville. Thought they were going to be really good. And now going into this year, they got 6.5 projected wins, but they're replacing all their skill position players, almost all of their defensive unit going into the season. I mean, replacing Javian Hawkins and Tutu Atwell is going to be one of the tougher tasks in this conference. I mean, they're going to, and on offense, I want to look at the offense first. Malik Cunningham caught the turnover bug. 12 interceptions. I think he had 3 or 4 fumbles. And if he can't avoid the turnover bug, this team's in trouble. That's what it kept it. Everyone in the country thought this offense was going to explode. They were going to compete with Clemson for the ACC with Miami. They get smacked. And it was just because the offense couldn't get going because they kept turning the ball over. The offense wasn't explosive as we thought it was going to be. And now Malik Cunningham is going to have to try to fix his turnover problem, and he has all new wide receivers and a new running back. So I don't love that for the offense. And then defensively, they're only returning 5 starters. Only 1 secondary starter returns in a pass defense that kept them in a lot of games last year. The pass defense was 17th in the country last year, and I'm expecting a huge regression because they don't have a lot of experience on the back end. So if the offense turns the ball over and is shows all the inconsistencies it showed last year, this team could be in trouble because they might not have the defense to lean on. The one player I'm looking at is Kendrick Duncan. He was a transfer from Georgia Southern. I think he was an all-Sun Belt guy. He's going to have to step up at the safety spot. And C.J. Avery trying to replace Rajay Burns in the middle of that defense at linebacker is going to be huge. I'm not super high on Louisville this year. I mean, as of right now, especially with all the offensive inconsistency, and then their defense is just young and inexperienced, and they lost a lot of talent at some very important positions. So when I look at their schedule, Eastern Kentucky, Syracuse, and Duke are easy 3 wins right there. So about halfway there to their 6.5 projected. But this is where it gets hard for them, is that their out-of-conference games are not looking good for them. A swing game, UCF. And right now, let me just be honest with y'all, I think UCF might be a loss for them. I definitely think Ole Miss is a loss. Ole Miss is a better team than Louisville right now. So that's 2 losses in the out-of-conference. And then I think Boston College, Clemson are also 2 losses in conference. And then I think Kentucky is a better team next year than Louisville. That's 3 out-of-conference losses and 2 conference losses. That's 5 losses right there, which means you're going to have to win out against Florida State, Wake Forest, Virginia, NC State. And I just don't see that happening, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, you might get 2, maybe 3 of them if you're lucky. But, man, you're looking at a 5 to 6 win team at best right now for Louisville, based on the schedule, in my opinion, and based on summer matchups and spring takeaways. I'm going under hard here at Louisville. I think it's 5. It could be 4 to 6 wins at best, in my opinion. I think they get 6 at most. I think drawing UCF, Ole Miss, and Kentucky on your schedule is, I mean, to be honest, I think it's one of the more brutal schedules. I mean, you get Ole Miss week 1. I'm looking at the schedule right now. UCF week 3, followed up with back-to-back road trips on Florida State and Wake Forest, which are going to be super important games. You get Kentucky at the end. You get Clemson after a tough road trip to NC State. It doesn't bode well for Louisville. I'm not super high on them, and I think the schedule is just brutal for them. So Louisville, I'm going hard under. This is one that I'm very, very confident in. Louisville under the projected 6.5 wins. Now, Wake Forest also has 6.5 projected wins, and this is an interesting one. Listen, this team has some potential. It all relies on this defense, though, to click together. It was one of the worst units in the ACC last year, 12th overall in scoring defense. But if you like the stat, I know some people love it. Some people are very skeptical. If you like returning starters, this is the horse you got to bet on, because the Demon Deacons return 19 starters, which include all 11 starters from the number 4 offense in the conference last season. But the offensive line was so inconsistent last year, it didn't really mesh. They're going to have to find better consistency, because they're not going to be able to do anything with Sam Hartman at quarterback if he doesn't have time to throw the ball and he's uncomfortable in the pocket. That's the big worry for Wake Forest. On the defensive side of the ball, injuries ravage this unit, so I don't really know what the potential is going to be. It's going to depend on, can they stay healthy, the development over the spring and summer months, The linebacker play was a huge issue for them last year. So if the Demon Deacons plan to make an ACC run, that linebacking unit and that defensive line is going to have to play better. When I look at their schedule, though, Old Dominion, Syracuse, and Duke are guaranteed wins. I'd say Norfolk State too, which is going to be a tough game. Norfolk State is a very, very good FCS team, so you can't sleep on them. But I'm going to give them 4 guaranteed wins. So they just I need 3 more. Swing games are Florida State, Virginia, Louisville, Army, and NC State. I just think, man, Army's a tough one. I wanted to give that one a win, but, man, with that triple option, teams just aren't ready for it. And with a defense with a lot of questions in the front 7, I couldn't guarantee that a win. Those linebackers are going to have to be so disciplined playing against that triple option that if they play like they did last year, Army's going to run through them. Then the 3 guaranteed losses for me are North Carolina, Clemson, and Boston College. Definitely those are 3 losses. So can they still, 3 games out of Florida State, Virginia, Louisville, Army, and NC State? Absolutely. I think the biggest ones are going to be Florida State, Louisville, and Army are going to be your 3 big games. And they probably can do it. I would right now probably give them the win over Florida State and Louisville. Army, it just depends. That's such a toss-up game. But I'm going to go right now on June 22nd, as this is out, and say that they squeezed over Wake Forest, get 7 wins next season. But it's going to be a close one. This is one that this team could go so many different ways. But right now, I'm going to say the over for 7 wins on Wake Forest. Now, Boston College, we got 2 teams left. Boston College also project to 7 wins. The Eagles, again, returning a whopping 18 starters. They had a difficult but promising season. A lot of close losses like that Clemson game. They played UNC very close. They played Notre Dame close for most of the game. I love the potential of this offense. I really do. I am super high on this offense. Phil Dracovic, year 2. Zay Flowers returning as the primary receiver. They're returning all the skill players, and they're returning all 5 starting offensive linemen for 2021. And I meant they're returning all wide receivers, not skill players. I think they got a new running back, but all 5 starting offensive linemen return for 2021. Defensively, though, the linebacking unit is the biggest question mark for me. They have 0 returning starts at linebacker, but the secondary is going to be the strength. They return every single starter in the secondary, and it's going to be led by Brandon Sebastian Jr. at cornerback and Jaden Larwoodley at safety. I'm very, very excited to see this defense take that next step, and if they can, they're going to be a tough team to beat. I'm giving them wins at Colgate, UMass, Temple, Louisville, Syracuse, and Wake Forest. So that's 6 wins right there. Can they get 1 win, which I think they can, at Missouri, NC State, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, and Florida State? I think they probably get it at Florida State. I think they're probably better than NC State and Virginia, and probably as an overall team, Georgia Tech. So I think they get like 3 wins there. And their only guaranteed loss for me really is Clemson. I think that Missouri one, I'm leaning toward giving Missouri the win. Virginia Tech's always a close one. So right now, I would say over by probably. I think 9-3 is very, very reasonable for Boston College next year. Their 3 losses could probably be Virginia Tech, Missouri, and Clemson, and they go 9-3 the other part of the schedule. 8-4 if they slip up against NC State, in my opinion, or Georgia Tech comes out of nowhere. I really, really think 8 to 9 wins is a reasonable bet here. I'd say hit the over on Boston College projected 7 wins. I think 8 to 9 is very, very doable. And I'm very confident in that. I love the offense. The secondary is going to be huge for a pass-heavy conference. And I think that linebacking unit can come along pretty well because that offense is going to be scoring a lot of points. So it's going to give that defense a little bit of leeway to grow. But let's go ahead, wrap it up here with Clemson. 11.5 projected wins, guys. And listen, they're always going to be the ACC favorite. It's no different this year, but this is the first year in 3 years that the Tigers don't have Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne in the backfield together. DJ takes over the QB1 role. Lynn J. Dixon looks like he's going to be the guy at the running back spot. The real question for me is this offensive line. Can it improve significantly? Because if it doesn't, this team's going to be in some trouble in their biggest games, particularly the ACC Championship and against Georgia Week 1. Justin Ross is back, but all new starting wide receivers around him. He has a bit of chemistry with E.J. Williams, who he played with in high school back when he was in Alabama. It's probably going to be his right-hand man, but defensively, the Tigers are going to have the best D-line in the country, guys. Brian Barisi, Tyler Davis, Miles Murphy, KJ Henry, Xavier Thomas, all back. It's going to be the deepest and the most ridiculous D-line. Andrew Booth and Mario Goodrich are going to have to step up, especially to replace De'Aaron Kendrick, who's off to Georgia. Nolan Turner's back at safety, huge. James Kukowski's back at linebacker. He also has Trenton Simpson, who showed flashes as a freshman last year. When I look at this, man, 11.5, oh, man, that's so tough. Because what's going to have to happen, in my opinion, that half point's killing me because I think they have 11 wins in the regular season. I do. I think they go 11-1. I'm picking Georgia right now on June 22nd to beat them week 1, but they get the other 11 wins. They're going to have to win the ACC championship to go over. So I think I would go over. They're going to get 12 wins. They're going to be 12-1 going into the postseason. But, man, it's way closer. That half a point kills you because if they slip up anywhere on their schedule. So, let me pull up their schedule real quick. Georgia's a loss, in my opinion. South Carolina State a win. Georgia Tech a win. NC State on the road week 4 could be tough, but I think they pull that one out. Boston College is going to be a big one October 2nd. Syracuse and Pitt are overmatched. Florida State's probably overmatched. Louisville's overmatched. Connecticut isn't going to be anything. Then Wake Forest and South Carolina. South Carolina's got a first-year head coach. And Clemson's dominated. I don't think anyone can touch them outside of Georgia on their schedule. And they'll probably, if I had to guess right now, get Miami or UNC in the ACC championship. And I think they're probably going to be very highly favored in those games. So I think 12 wins for me for Clemson in the regular season is where I'm going to go. I think to go 12-1, one loss to Georgia week 1. But no one in the ACC is ready to touch them yet. So I'm going to go 12-1 for the Clemson Tigers. Hit that over. So, guys, comment below what your predictions are for each of these teams, man. Let me know where I was wrong, where I was right, what y'all think about these predictions. We'll be back tomorrow with the Coastal Division predictions, and then as we move through the summer, we'll get to other conferences. If you like this type of episode, let me know below. Or if it's not your favorite, also let me know below what you kind of like seeing from us, man. Hey, we're always down to give y'all the best content out there. Make sure to go check out our SEC in 30 days interviews that we've been dropping this month. Or if you're here for an ACC fan, go back all the way to February when we kicked off these themes and go find your favorite ACC team. We probably got an interview in there for your favorite team. But, guys, I will be back tomorrow, man. I appreciate y'all tuning in. And as always, I got a plug. Hit that subscribe button, hit that post notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up, man. Helps us out. Want to get you subscribed, and you can enter our 500 subscriber giveaway. So we appreciate y'all supporting, man. My boy B-Dub will be back, I believe, Thursday. He gets back, so he will be on Thursday's episode. Can't wait to get him back in here with me, but I'll be back tomorrow with another 2-minute drill, man. But for myself, the 2-minute drill, and the Blue Bloods, I am out.